Hello all. This is a fairly impromptu video. I got a few minutes to kill before heading out somewhere, and I wanted to talk about something a little different today, something a little more sensitive and even controversial. Um, the issue of drinking as a Christian. Now, this applies specifically to all those over 21. I don't support underage drinking at all. We, as Christians, we should follow the laws of the land. Not saying I haven't done it. I'll confess that I drank under 21, but. So I want to discuss this a little bit. Now, there's a division out there as whether or not drinking alcohol at all among Christians is acceptable. Drunkenness is completely unacceptable. That's clear in scriptures. That's a sin. But I want to talk a little bit about my experience, me being on the spectrum with alcohol. One of the first things when I became a Christian was actually the first things I was convicted of was drinking to get drunk. If I remember right, at that time, I think it was just after my 21st and I became a Christian. I'd be regularly going out, getting drunk, getting sick. And at that time, I just thought that, well, alcohol just loosens me up, calms me down. I thought getting drunk was fun. I thought I had an excuse for acting awkward or being socially appropriate or being an idiot. So that's why I did all that drinking. I got convicted of it pretty quick, and I slowed down on it. Now, fast forward about 9 years later, my view on drinking is, this one's a little tricky for me because sometimes I feel even I straddle the line between sin and permissibility, because I don't think drinking itself is a sin, because Jesus did convert water into wine, and I don't believe it was just grape juice either, because it mentions the best wine saved for last. Now, that wouldn't be applied to just any regular grape juice. Best wine saved for last. They typically give the cheap wine first, and when the guests are drunk, then they give the better wine last. So in that way, I think drinking is permissible, but I also think there's certain situations where you should not drink. Obviously, if there's a church setting, if you're with a church group, or if you're with somebody who has a drinking problem, if drinking can be a stumbling block, you shouldn't do it. Now, in other social situations, it may be acceptable. I know for me, the challenge is that a little bit of alcohol can, well, I enjoy the taste of certain alcohols. You know, I'm not a beer person. I'm Russian, so I like my dirty martinis. Yes, they are strong, but I've noticed that when I do drink, it loosens me up. I feel calmer, more fluid, more able to converse with people. And that's where it gets tricky, because I think it's dangerous to rely on alcohol or any drugs to be able to feel comfortable in social situations. Now, I'm not saying prescription medication isn't acceptable. I do take that for anxiety and other things, but drinking alcohol, I can't speak for other people on the spectrum, but it's really easy when you have a lot of social anxiety and you miss social cues. It can really loosen you up and help you into certain situations. So, I don't know, just looking to get some feedback on this one. This one's tricky for me because, well, I know drunkenness is not a sin, but sometimes I question how acceptable it is to drink for enjoyment and even to get a little buzz just to feel a little better if you've had a rough day, a long day, or if you're in a situation that's evoking a lot of social anxiety. So just kind of want to get your guys' take on it. I kind of want to get that out there. So in a way, yes, I did say that was the first thing I overcame, but at the same time, it's also something I'm kind of struggling with. You know, struggling with where to draw the lines. Lines get blurred sometimes. Even recently, in the past several months and years, I've been in situations where I drank far more than I should have. It was a mistake. It's easy to be in that situation, so I think really ultimately what it comes down to is self-control. How well can you control yourself? If somebody can't control themselves, if somebody can't have one drink without having 10 more, then that situation where we know for sure that you shouldn't be drinking. But there's also the situation where you rely on it, not rely, but use it to loosen up. That's also a slight form of addiction. That might even be idolatry. So I don't know. It's something I'm struggling with, to figuring out how acceptable it is. I feel like it's a secondary issue. It's not the same as, salvation, sanctification, primary issues. Jesus, the Son of God. That's non-negotiable. Now, this issue is a little more negotiable, a little more room for discussion. There's a few absolutes. As I was saying, drunkenness is a sin. Getting drunk, and obviously that's not acceptable. But in other situations, drinking in moderation might be acceptable. So just kind of wanted to discuss that, see what your guys' thought was, especially other people on the spectrum, also other Christians on the spectrum who are in a similar place.